Welcome to the regular meeting of the Morganton City Council, January 4th, 2021. The first part of our meeting is usually reserved for comments. Kelly, Russell, do we have anybody who signed up for comments? If not, we'll go straight into the business part. I'll ask for everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ask Councilman Chris Jernigan to...
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
don't we need to wait?
There's no intro tonight.
Yeah, no intro.
We'll face the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'd like for our City Attorney, Louis V. Nye, to lead us in an invocation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's bow our heads. Lord, at the beginning of a new year, everyone always says we look forward with anticipation to the coming time. But that's probably never been as true as it is this year as we leave 2020 and look forward to 2021. Those of us connected with the city of Morganton are no different, and we all have faced in the last 12 months a lot of difficulty, many challenges. We thank, especially today, all of our employees and staff for their devotion to duty, their sacrifices, their loyal hard work in this past year. We pray that for all city employees, for our mayor and city council members, 2021 will indeed be not just a better year, but a great year. We look forward to a pleasant and successful 2021 for all our citizens and residents. And now let us pause for a moment of silence, remembering those whom we lost in 2020 and giving our own private, personal thanks to those whom we know or name in our hearts who deserve our special attention this evening. Amen.
Thank you, Louis. Next, I'll introduce council. To my far right, Wendy Cato, Mayor Pro Tem, Chris Jernigan, City Council, Louis V. Nye, our City Attorney. I'm Ronnie Thompson, your Mayor, Sally Sandy, our City Manager, Butch McSwain, City Council, Chris Hawkins, City Council, Kelly Russell, our Recording Secretary, and for our deaf community, we have Danette Stillman-Bridges and Ernest Williams. Our first order of business are some retirement resolutions. If you'll bear with me, please. Our first one is Jimmy Earl Franklin. I'd like to read that resolution. Whereas Jimmy Earl Franklin was employed by the City of Morganton as Equipment Operator 3 in the Public Works Department on September 5th, 2000, reclassified as an expert equipment operator on July 1st, 2004, and whereas Jimmy Earl Franklin has faithfully served the City of Morganton in the Public Works Department and has given of his time and efforts for the benefit of the citizens of the City of Morganton for 21 years and 4 months, and whereas Jimmy Earl Franklin retired from the City of Morganton as the expert equipment operator in the Public Works Department on January 1st, 2021, and whereas the Morganton City Council wishes to officially recognize the contributions of Jimmy Earl Franklin and express their appreciation for a job well done. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Morganton that the mayor present this resolution to Jimmy Earl Franklin, adopted this 4th day of January 2021. Ronnie Thompson, Mayor, Sally Sandy, City Clerk. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Franklin, the motion passes. Mr. Franklin was unable to attend tonight. That resolution will be given to him. Next, a resolution honoring Fred Harold Steins. Whereas Fred Harold Steins, Jr. was employed by the City of Morganton as Mechanic 1 in the Public Works and Garage IGS Department on September 18th, 1995, promoted to Mechanic 2 on June 25th, 1998, reclassified as a mechanic on July 1, 2004. And whereas Fred Harold Steins, Jr. has faithfully served the city of Morganton in the Public Works and Garage Department and has given of his time and efforts for the benefit of the citizens of the city of Morganton for 26 years and 5 months. And whereas Fred Harold Steins, Jr. retired from the city of Morganton as a mechanic in the Public Works Garage Department on January 1st, 2021. And whereas the Morganton City Council wishes to officially recognize the contributions of Fred Harold Steins, Jr. and express their appreciation for a job well done, now therefore be it resolved by the city of Morganton that the mayor present this resolution to Fred Harold Steins, Jr., adopted this, the 4th day of January 2021. Ronnie Thompson, Mayor. Sally Sandy, City Clerk. Do I have a motion to accept this resolution?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I'm going to ask, let's see, who's doing that? Butch McSwain to please present that resolution.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
On top of
You did it
thanking you for your service to the city, we have a lot of personal history too with you and your family, and I know it's been a rough Christmas for you guys, and you've been in our prayers, and we certainly you have our condolences. Your family has been real involved with the Parks and Recreation Department through the years. You kept an old Jeep of mine running back when you were doing your shade tree stuff up on years ago, probably 10 years longer than it should have. So I do thank you. Hope you enjoy yourself. And I bet you do. And again, thank you.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of presenting this to you, would you like to say a few words or anything?
Just that I've enjoyed my time here, and there was some days I went home, I wonder why, and I always come back the next morning. And I got to figuring it up, I actually worked 32 and a half years for the city of Morganton,
Wow.
and I'm 65 years old, so I give half my life to the city.
Yes, you
That's not
do.
even counting what I work for Butch in the Recreation Department. Enjoyed it, and hope to enjoy my retirement.
Enjoy your
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have another resolution honoring Joseph Scott Luckadoo. Whereas Joseph Scott Luckadoo joined the city of Morganton on June 15, 1987, serving as Administrative Services Manager in the Finance Department before sharing his strong organizational and administrative skills with the Public Works Department when he was promoted to Director on July the 4th, 2004. And whereas Joseph Scott Luckadoo has provided keen financial oversight, outstanding logistical skills, and committed leadership to the Public Works Department while displaying sincere care for the citizens and exemplary teamwork to other departments that has facilitated progress for the city while maintaining a personal level of service with the community. And whereas Joseph Scott Luckadoo served as a champion of preserving and enhancing green space, adding to the treescape of Morganton. And whereas Joseph Scott Luckadoo gave of his time and intent serving the Community Appearance Commission for decades, which allowed Scott's commitment to a beautiful and well-maintained community to be seen all over Morganton. And whereas Joseph Scott Luckadoo, after giving of his time and efforts for the benefit of the citizens of the city of Morganton for 34 years and 11 months, and retired from the city of Morganton as Director of Public Works Department on January 1st, 2021, and whereas the Morganton City Council wishes to officially recognize the contributions of Joseph Scott Luckadoo and express their appreciation for a job well done, now therefore be it resolved by the city of Morganton that the mayor present this resolution to Joseph Scott Luckadoo, adopted this the 4th day of January 2021. Ronnie Thompson, Mayor. Sally Sandy, City Clerk. And Wendy Cato, Mayor Pro Tem, if you'll present that resolution, please.
Mayor, I'm make
Do I have a
motion.
motion that we accept that resolution?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Mayor Pro Tem?
be hard not to hug you, Scott. We've been together a long time, from the old city hall to now, so there's nothing we can say that can put into words how much we've appreciated, not how you did your job, but how you always did just the extra thing too for this city and for its citizens. So enjoy your retirement, okay? And we thank you for everything.
Scott, please share some wisdom with us.
Well, I'd first like to thank God for all the blessings in my life, the source of my strength, and to Him be the glory. I'd like to thank Pam, my wife, and my family, my parents and neighbors and friends and the community of Morganton where I grew up, and glad to have had a truly rewarding career in working, hopefully to make things a better place, and giving it my heart. The real pleasure is all the men and women that I had the joy of working with, the friends I've made, seeing men and women give more than I could imagine, and just do it is because that's what our job is. And so I thank all of the people that I've had a pleasure of working with. Sally, a very special thanks to you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. And thank you for your leadership, council, and mayor. That's all I can say, but thank you, and I do look forward to retirement.
Thank you, Scott.
Don't be a stranger.
And I'd like to say thank you to Scott, because he is the second person for the city of Morganton that I met a long time ago when I came here, and I have had the pleasure of working alongside of him for all of these years, and it has been my honor and my privilege to serve with you. And I want to assure Michael and the citizens that Scott has told me today that we will not be having a bad snowstorm on Friday. We have an agreement. And so I just want everybody to know not to get your snow pants out or your snow boots or your snow cream bowls just yet. So, thank you, Scott.
Thanks.
Next on our agenda is a service pin for Sharon Jablonski. Sally, would you like to say a few words about this service pin before I ask, I believe, Chris Hawkins?
Certainly.
Okay.
30 years. So, and I have had the privilege of working alongside Sharon for 28 of those 30 years. And appreciate, again, as you've seen tonight, people's long-time commitment to this community and to making it a better place every day. And certainly that is something that Sharon has done for downtown for quite some time. We are very proud that she is the recipient of a national award recognizing her commitment to downtown and what it means to communities. And we're very thankful to have her here and to get to honor her for her 30 years, and looking forward to the next several because there's more to be done.
Councilman Chris Hawkins, would you present that service pin, please?
Glad to.
Sharon, we were in high school together. How could you possibly? Somebody needs to check those records. I don't think that's possible.
I started when we were 10.
That's right. Must have been. I don't know what much else to add. Just reiterate what Sally said. Thank you for your devotion, your countless hours given to the city and its downtown, your innovative ideas. I think I may have emailed this to you once. I think this would be a good time to reiterate. I think I said once, if you ever feel down one day or any time, just take a walk through downtown and look around, and that should lift your spirits. And thank you so much for all you've done and for the 30 years you've given, and I hope you'll give us many more.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Sharon, would you like to say something? You're never at a loss for words.
I personally thought that Harold had it right. There were some days I wondered why I came, and then I got up and came the next day. I would just say I will never be able to say thank you enough for all the opportunities that all the leadership has always been able to give me, and for Sally's support, the staff support, because honestly, I'm just one person, and I can't do it without a team. So I thank you, and I'll give you maybe 4 years. I was really excited when there was a whole list of retirements, but my name was not in that list. So, but thank you for letting me stay.
Thank you, Sharon. At this time, under public advocacy, I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone to remain vigilant as COVID-19 continues to spread throughout our community. The pandemic hasn't gone anywhere, and it's more important than ever to practice the 3 W's of wearing a mask, washing our hands, and keeping your distance from other people by waiting at least 6 feet apart to help slow the spread of this virus in Morganton. We cannot go back to normal unless we are all willing to do our part to keep our neighbors safe. Following the 3 W's is the best way to do this. During my time as Mayor Morganton, I have always been impressed by our community's ability to come together to help our neighbors. This is no different, and I know we came together to beat COVID and get our community back to normal. As hard as 2020 was, I have every bit of confidence that we can all work together to make 2021 so much better. I want to thank everyone for doing your part and wearing your mask to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Next on our agenda is a special guest. We have some people to talk about the Fontaflora State Trail. Bob Hunter, I believe you are here to make some of that comments, correct?
That's correct. Is it all right if I remove this mask? It's
Yes.
a pretty heavy one, and
Yes.
my talking is going to be tough on me. Thank you. Let me introduce who's with me. I think y'all know him probably as well or better than me, Beth Hiley, and then Andrew Coda. Beth does so many things with Valdez Rec and Partup Board. She's on our board. She's our treasurer and on the executive committee. Andrew Coda, you know, with Foothills Conservancy, also on our board and executive committee. I'm Bob Hunter, president of the Friends of Fontaflora State Trail, and Mayor Thompson, councilman, and council ladies. I was here a little bit more than a year ago. I had the pleasure of giving the oath of office to several of you. And I told you, I think at that time, I took a moment of personal privilege, and I think I talked a little bit about the Fontaflora State Trail, and I believe I said I'd probably be back at some time, so I'm back. And with a great supporting cast. And we want to give you some information tonight about who we are, how we got started, what we've been doing, and how we need your help. You'll see getting trail on the ground. That's what we're all about for the Fontaflora State Trail. I think you know Hugh Blackwell was instrumental in getting the legislature to adopt the Fontaflora State Trail, and it goes from downtown Morganton through Glen Alpine, around Lake James, through Marion, through Old Fort, through Black Mountain, and on to Asheville in the 3 counties of Burke, McDowell, and Buncombe. How did we get started? And it really came about through the Friends of Lake James State Park. I've been involved for that a long time. Had the pleasure, along with my great friend, Representative Ray Fletcher, many years ago, of getting the first part of that park. It's been expanded so much now and so much better. And I'll talk a minute about some of the exciting things briefly that's going on there. But we had a board meeting a little bit more than a year ago, and we were talking about how do we take this trail from, say, a 30-year project to a 10-year project. How do we make it happen? And Bryant Lindsay, you know Bryant, Bryant said you need a friends group. You need a friends group. I'm surprised he's not here. Oh, he showed up. I knew he'd show up. I don't know how he always knows. But he said you need a friends group. And from that meeting, we started talking about it. And so I was transitioning out as vice president of that group. So somehow I ended up as president of this group. So that's how the idea came about. And we were getting ready to have the groundbreaking for the visitor center at the park. And so we said, why don't we do a presentation, since we've got everybody coming to that, to talk about this Fontaflora State Trail and how we can get the trail on the ground. So we had all the people from these counties, surrounding counties. They were coming from Raleigh. And so we decided we would have a presentation along with that. So we did it at the brewery there. Some of you were there, I know. Philip indicated that he was there. We had a wonderful crowd there, over 100 people to talk about it. And we gave a presentation. We showed a video. The video was kind of put together in a hurry. We're working on revising that video, and it'll be much better, and we'll be glad to provide it to you later. But we talked about it, and the consensus was this is something that we all want to dedicate time and effort to, and let's see what we can come up with. So from that meeting, we became a 501c3 organization. We got organized. Got a great board. You're going to recognize, I think, those people from Burke County, and all three counties basically are represented in the same capacities with local government officials, someone from Trails, someone from Economic Development or Tourism, and then we have 4 dedicated members. I'm one from Friends of Lake James. Andrew is from Foothills Conservancy, and we have the Western North Carolina YMCA, and one from Hospitals and Healthcare Foundation, and that's and then we have Smith Rayner, who is the State Trails Planner, as an ex officio. But you selected Butch McSwain to be on our board, so Butch has been a valuable member, and we meet periodically. You see the executive committee there as well. And so we've been working. Go ahead and just, yeah, there we go. Get that next one. Okay, that gives you an idea of the trail. And that's not the exact location of all of it, but you'll see it does come and starts in Morganton. And a key focus of it is around Lake James State, around the lake and Lake James State Park. The Visitor Center is over half done. And that Visitor Center is going to be amazing to what it brings into this area. And I hope you know that there's going to be a new bridge going across the lake. It's going to be a footbridge. It connects up the Visitor Center over to, what's that, Long Point, where the boat-in only, that's the only boat-in only tent camping sites on the lake. And also, it's going to be the Fontaflora State Trail. It'll be over the Mountain Victory Trail, coming right across that bridge, right by the Visitor Center, and connecting in with the trail that goes around the lake. And then it'll come on up, and I'll talk a minute about some of the other parts of it, but going through Marion, Old Fort, and on to Black Mountain. If I hit that, no, that doesn't do it, does it? There you go. Let me talk briefly about what we've been able to accomplish since we've been organized, just not quite a year. And a lot's been going on in Old Fort and that we've been involved with. You'll see some of the partnerships that we're working with in Old Fort. And one of those things that's going on, you see the G5 Trail Collective there, that's part of Pisgah. Pisgah is going to be building 20 miles of trail in that area. And so that's going to be connected to Fontaflora. You see Kitsbow there, that's one of the new industries. They're into bicycling. Old Fort is going to be a really cycling center. They make clothing for cyclists. And so that's an important thing. They've got a brewery now, Hillman's Beer, Foothills Conservancy, Camp Greer, McDowell Tech, McDowell County, and the town of Old Fort all are working with us with what's going on in Old Fort, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute.
Hopefully it takes 2 times.
No, go back. Oh, yeah, here it is. You got it. I need to look at the right one. McDowell Technical Community College. This is exciting. They're working and working to secure grants. They're going to start the second program in the state that deals with trail construction and sustainability. and they'll be working with all these groups. It's going to be an old fort. It'll be a satellite there. We'll probably have an office, they've indicated, that they'll let us have an office there. All of that will be coordinating with all the trail work that's going to be going on. Camp Greer will be housing these people that come there to get their trail certification. So it's going to be something.
Now I went too many. Sorry.
There we go. This is something that the Friends Group is really proud of. We've worked with the state of North Carolina, and they have bought 30 acres that you'll see there where it's labeled New Trailhead and Park. They've leased it to the town of Old Fort for $1 a year, and so that came about through the works of our Friends Group. And the town of Old Fort is small, doesn't have a lot of money. It needed to obviously develop the trailhead and park, so we worked with them. We're working on a part of the grant. Also got another pot of money that we hopefully in the next couple of months we will secure the funds to develop that site. And we raised, the town agreed to put up $100,000. We got the county to put up $100,000, and we raised $100,000 from a private donor who has enabled us to have the matching money that we need for that project, as well as there's 2 old houses on there, and we also raised $20,000 to get them removed. So we've been working, and we think we can get some things done. The trailhead, the trail will go on from the trailhead there, go through town, and as I said, a lot of things are happening there, and it will go out and then it'll connect up to Camp Greer. Camp Greer property there. Foothills Conservancy is built. I guess it's already built 3 miles of our trail there. That's going to connect up to Point Lookout. Point Lookout is already built. That goes to the top of the mountain to Ridgecrest. The next key link is from Ridgecrest there into Black Mountain. Black Mountain is very interested in working with us, and that's going to be a key of connecting up Black Mountain to Ridgecrest. I think many of you are familiar with Ridgecrest. It's just been sold, but fortunately it's going to remain a viable center, and they've indicated they want to work with us, and we'll get some more easements with them. We think there's even the possibility of connecting up with the easements with the trails at Montreat. So there's a lot of activity that's going to be going on in this area, and then obviously a lot around the lake, and then down at and coming into the town of Morganton. One, I don't know if you've heard much about, but there's going to be a new trailhead and access area at the Black Bear access area. You know, I imagine where the Black Bear access area is. Duke Power is working with the county to build a trailhead there. You see the plans kind of for that. We met with Duke, and we got them to agree to extend that trail on out of their property there, which is an additional, the trail will go through there. And so that's going to be another a big help to this area. North Carolina Coalition of Trails, that's something that's been in existence less than a year. And I'm proud to say that Andrew and Beth and myself and many others have come together and working with the Mountains of the Sea Trail, with Land for Tomorrow, and that's grown from many other groups. We've come up with a funding proposal that's going to be presented to the governor and to the legislature that we're excited about. You'll see some of the details there. I would point out that one of them, the $2 million in recurring money, which we're asking the state to do, is $650,000 for state trails leadership. Trails has not been recognized in state parks like it needs to be. This would provide an assistant director just for trails, and also it would provide $150,000 to each of the nonprofits that are working on these state trails, like Fontaflora State Trail. So we're going to be working with that. I just got a text a minute ago. Someone has donated the money to hire a lobbyist for us for 1 year that will be working on this proposal. It goes, part of the money goes into parks. Part of it is part of the, you may have heard from DOT, the Great Trail State. So this is going to be asking for money for them. We've been working with DOT. I met recently with the chairman of the DOT board, and he's very committed to trails. They're getting back into the business now of funding projects. There's one in McDowell that is going to be back on the books that connects up the Greenway. There's others there with state parks and the Department of Natural and Economic Resources. We're excited there. The new director was the deputy director, Reed Wilson. We worked with him. Andrew and I met with him, so we've got good working relationships with these groups, and we're going to be pushing to get these fundings. Now, all of that being said, what do we need from y'all? When I first got into this, the one thing people told me is you've got to have an executive director to run the organization. And really, we needed a full-time executive director to run it, to really do the things that we need to do in promoting the 3 counties and different projects, to work with our partners to get this trail on the ground. You want to go to that next slide? And we came up with a budget and a proposal. We'll be working to get individual memberships. That'll give us a little bit of extra money. We're going to be raising money from corporations, from donors, and from grants. All that money will go into a special account to help the partners like Morganton, like Old Fort, like Burke County, putting trails on the ground. So, but the money that we need for operations, we're asking our local governments to provide that to help us have an executive director. You'll see there what we have, the request for each of the 9 municipalities. It's based on population, and as you can see there, the town of Morganton, the request there is $10,000. You'll see the other requests. We already have we've been asked to submit invoices to Glen Alpine, Old Fort, and Marion. The other communities, Black Mountain is meeting, I think, tonight, and Morganton, of course, we're here. Burke County is, I think, meeting next week, as is McDowell. And so this is what we really need. We've had to back off from a full-time executive director because Asheville and Buncombe have really said that they're just not going to participate right now. It's not a priority. They've got a lot of things that draw people to Asheville and Buncombe County, so the trails are not as important to them as it is, we think, from Burke and McDowell's standpoint. So we're not going to be able to get the money from Asheville and Buncombe, which would have been about half of our budget. So we've dropped back to where we can hire an executive director part-time and be able to run, we think, an effective organization. McDowell County's been great. They loaned me their rec person. I've had her basically for a good part of time. They've now got her back in doing some other stuff. If I hadn't had that, I couldn't have done it. We couldn't have done it. You've got to have somebody that's devoted and running the organization that knows how to do it. And quite frankly, I've been spending a lot more time than I had planned on this, and I need to back off some. But we really need the money from the town if we're going to be able to make this thing happen. I would say this to you. We think you'll get more back than what we're asking you for with the money we're going to be raising and the projects that we want to work with you. We know you've already got some of the trail completed, and you've got other projects that are funded. I think you've still got some to do, but this is a big picture. And if this trail gets completed and what we're doing comes to fruition, this is going to bring a lot of people. It's going to bring you sales tax money. It's going to bring you your TDA money. So I think you'll get back well from that standpoint, but also when you've got a project and you need some help, sometimes it's easier for a nonprofit to get donations than it is for a local government to ask for donations for something. Butch is on our, Butch McSwain, obviously, as I mentioned, is on our board, and and I'm sure he may have had a chance to share some things with you. But let me, the last slide there, and then I'll stop, and if you have questions, or Beth and Andrew may have something they want to say. But you see our mission there, and it basically boils down to providing trails for the citizens of these counties for their education and enjoyment, and it boils down to putting trails on the ground. Thank you for giving us this time to make this presentation, and if you want to hear from Beth or Andrew or questions for any of us, we will certainly be glad to respond. I would say this, if we don't get this money, I don't know how we will be able to fund this operation and run it like it needs to be. But so far with Burke and McDowell, we're getting, the local governments, we're getting good cooperation from those, and quite frankly, that's where we'll be spending our efforts.
Bob, thanks. I have a question for Andrew, I guess. I know Foothills Conservancy just got what they call the Oak Hill Park. Will it tie in, this trail tie in with Oak Hill Park?
Well, that's our hope, Mayor. Right now, we're in the process of completing a master plan for the park. So we have Destination by Design. I think you've probably worked with them in the past. And Philip Lookadoo is on our steering committee, as is Beth. So we're planning some of the infrastructure and the outdoor recreation opportunities, the community opportunities for that parcel of land. And yes, that's what we hope, is that the city and the county would be interested in supporting and hopefully funding an extension from Freedom Park and that part of the Greenway up to the property, and including that in the Fauna Flora State Trail as it hopscotches, from downtown Morganton to Lake James. So, in addition to that, I think that there are other opportunities to connect the Fauna Flora State Trail. I mean, 100 miles or so of trail is huge, but we're right now in this on the precipice of something huge here in this region to make it a hub for outdoor recreation and public trails, with the Over Mountain Victory Trail being designated a state trail recently, and the Wilderness Gateway State Trail. Our organization just got 2 grants from the State Trails program to build, first of all, about 4 miles of mountain bike trail off the Greenway, so we'll hopefully be able to talk to you a little bit about that in the near future, and about 7 miles of the Wilderness Gateway State Trail in southern McDowell County. And so we've been working over the past several years on planning to try to connect Fauna Flora to Wilderness Gateway through Marion, and I think there's an opportunity here in Morganton and Burke County to do that as well. So just a major regional trails hub in these foothills counties, and I think that's in our future, and it's
Great.
achievable.
Thank you, Andrew. And to follow up on that, I'd like to ask Beth, I know you've been working on Lakeside Park in the Valdez area. Will any of this tie together, and what's sort of the big vision, please?
Well, this is going to tie together. I started working last year on a trail called the Catawba River Trail, and that was the vision of Representative Blackwell to bring economic development opportunities through outdoor recreation to the towns in eastern Burke County. That trail will be a 20-mile footpath that hooks up at the end of the Morganton Greenway. So we'll start there, go along the Grace Ridge property, swoop down along the wastewater treatment plant, back up to Vulcan, all the way down through Drexel, Valdez, Road Hiss, and Longview to hook up with the Hickory Trail system. So right there around the Hickory Airport, we're going to be taking Morganton all the way to Hickory. And as Andrew was talking about the Wilderness Gateway State Trail, the Wilderness Gateway State Trail comes from South Mountain State Park, up over Mineral Springs Mountain, down to Valdez, to the Valdez Lakeside Park. So you really have this trifecta, if that's the right term, of saying you've got the Fauna Flora State Trail with over Mountain Victory State Trail to Wilderness Gateway State Trail and back. And so one big loop, as Ed Phillips always likes to say, people come for loop trails, so it's going to be connected all together. So really you can think of the Catawba River Trail as an extension of the Fauna Flora State Trail, since they're just kind of one ends at the Morganton Greenway and the other one picks up. So
Thank you, Beth. Any questions? Council wish to make any comments?
Just a comment that we're excited. We just accepted bids, and we'll start seeing work on our connector from the courthouse down to our greenway behind the Mountain View Recreation Center. And you're already seeing the logos and the colors as you're going that direction now on Green Street. It is an exciting time when you stop thinking. And as far as what it can mean to us, we got to get through this immediate problem. But last fall, it was impressive once the hotel here in town opened, the number of cars in their parking lot on the weekends that had kayak racks, had bike racks on the back of it. Well over half the cars when I drive through there were obvious outdoor recreation enthusiasts, and this will only help. So I'm certain that we will do all we can.
Anybody else? Beth, Andrew, Bob, thank you so much for the presentation. I'm sure the city will get a copy of this, correct? And the presentation, can we have one at City Hall?
The slides? Sure.
Yes.
You bet.
Okay.
Yeah. We thought we had emailed it, but somehow it didn't get there, but we brought a backup.
Okay.
So that's what we used tonight.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, I've called on our city manager, Sally Sandy, for, I guess, an employee promotion. Would you share that with us?
Yes, so earlier tonight, we got to say thank you and so long and wish a happy retirement to Scott Lookadoo. And tonight, I want to introduce you to Michael Chapman. Michael, you want to come over here so everybody can see your face, so everybody knows who to yell and scream at when they're unhappy, who to call if they need their driveway scraped, all those things. We are really excited. So Michael has been with the city for a while and has been working with the finance department and working with purchasing and inventory and warehousing and building maintenance. And I could go on for another hour or two, but Michael is our new Director of Public Works.
Michael, would you like to say something, please?
And wait a minute,
Let's get him on the camera.
We're gonna give him,
yeah,
Philip's working on it.
I thought they were gonna do that in the back. Maybe they can't, huh?
Chad gonna pick it up?
So anyway, to talk more about Michael. So we are super excited that Michael officially began in Public Works January 1. Today's the first official work day, and we are looking forward to Michael has a lot of skills and a lot of expertise and is very much a people person and enjoys people. And Public Works is really a lot about people. So we are looking forward to having Michael join the team and excited about our opportunity to serve alongside Michael.
Thank you. Yeah, first off, we'd just like to say thank you to Sally, Mayor, Council. Appreciate the opportunity. I'm excited and anxious to get started. I've been working here for about going on 9 years now. So we should be able to get through the transition period pretty quickly and should be able to hit the ground running. Also, just like to give a shout out to Scott for kind of taking me under his wing in a way and working with me, and I appreciate that. And then I can't help but to notice the three guys that retired tonight. That's close to 100 years of institutional knowledge that walked out of Public Works. So, but I have all those guys' numbers, so I can.
It's a good thing.
But yeah, again, just thank you for the opportunity. And as far as the snow goes, we're gonna hope for the best and plan for the worst. Throughout the winter. And if you have any concerns, just give me a call.
Michael, I know that Scott was extremely lucky most of the time with his weather. Did he give you his rabbit's foot?
Well, he did not, but he did show me some of the ways that he would predict how the weather. He's been doing it a long time, so I take all the advice I can get.
Thank you so much. Good luck.
Good luck, Michael.
I have an announcement about the pop-up farmers market. Will be Saturday, January the 9th from 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. at the Green Street Mini Market location. Let's see, I think that's all of public advocacy. Next, I believe is our consent agenda. No, public power. Sally, do we have anything for public power?
Nothing at this time.
Our consent agenda includes 5 items. Sally, if you'll cover those.
Absolutely. Would ask the council to consider those in a single motion unless somebody wants an item removed and discussed separately. You have 2 sets of minutes, the regular meeting and the closed session that occurred at the December 7th meeting. You have budget amendments. There are several. The first one is for $16,300, and that is money that the Human Relations Commission has received from the Dogwood Trust, and that is to help with educational forums and opportunities to reach out in our community, and some opportunities to use some of that when the festival kicks back in and we start having entertainment, to use some of that to get some different kinds of entertainment and some opportunities to reach out to our community. Budget amendment, $30,000. We received the last week of the year a $30,000 gift from a private donor who wishes to remain anonymous. The gift is $3,500 for use at the Mountain View basketball courts toward helping to put lights on those courts, and $26,500 for the Courthouse Square project that is underway. Then a $6,000 contribution for recreational purposes, and that is from Pepsi. And finally, ask you to consider extending the emergency paid sick leave under what was originally the CARES Act and was set to expire on December the 31st, which was the original 80 hours of time for our employees. As this lingers on, would ask that you consider extending that at this moment till March 31st, and we'll see how the first quarter goes. Come back to you if there's a need to consider that again.
Do any members of council wish to have any items removed from the consent agenda? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, under new business, we have a public hearing and consideration of a rezoning request to change the zoning for 20.08 acres of property located at 115 Wamsutta Mill Road from Medium Intensity District, MID, to High Intensity District, HID. Call on our planning director, Scott Luckadoo. Gosh, Philip Luckadoo, please. We've got Scott on the brain tonight,
We've been
Philip.
saying Scott Luckadoo for a lot of years.
Yes. Philip?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I would say that since Scott has retired, I have received numerous calls asking me if I had retired, and I have not. I guess one of the hazards of being one of the only lookadoos in the area. So this request, again, is to rezone a piece of property on 115 Wamsutta Mill Road. It's currently owned by Burke County. The request came from Burke Development Incorporated. And it is to rezone the property from medium intensity district, as you see on the map, to high intensity district. Current use of the property is a light manufacturing use, and they do plan to, although that's not one of the considerations that we can consider, but they do plan to expand. And in order to do that, it has to be zoned appropriately. That is not an appropriate use in the medium intensity district. So as we looked at it from a staff perspective, the Mission 2030 plan calls for that property to be zoned such that it would allow light industrial or flex. That is probably most appropriately positioned in the high intensity district. And so that was the request. It was presented to Planning and Zoning Commission on December 10, of 2020, and voted unanimously to recommend this rezoning to City Council.
I declare a public hearing open and consideration of a rezoning request to change the zoning for 20.08 acres of property located at 115 Wamsutta Mill Road. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak at the public hearing? I'll declare the public hearing closed. What's the wish of council?
Motion to certify that this rezoning request is in compliance with the Mission 2030 Land Development Plan.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I need a second motion, please.
Motion to adopt an ordinance for a map amendment of 20.08 acres of property located at 115 Wamsutta Mill Road from Medium Intensity District MID to High Intensity District HID.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next on our agenda is the consideration of a resolution of intent to permanently close an abandoned and unopened portion of Beach Street and to call for a public hearing. I'll ask our city attorney, Louis Vini, to lead that discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the past, council has considered other requests to close streets, whether they are open or unopened, and this is in that nature. This one is a little bit unusual. I believe you have in your materials a map, a couple of maps that depict this area. First, let me say that this was based on an application, a petition presented by the property owner, which is Airly Inc. Jenny Irwin presented this because Airly owns the property, almost all the property around the end of Beach Street. The best way to describe it actually is if you are going to the farmer's market, when you turn down Beach Street, you go down a short distance there beside Morganton Station, then you have to turn to the right. The way that you travel is actually across the parking lot that's behind Maria's Morganton Station. And then when you get closer to the farmer's market, you go back onto what is actually the Beach Street right-of-way. But the actual public way is shown on the map that's attached. It's actually, you go down Beach Street, take a right angle, and just go down the hill to the farmer's market. However, as you can also see, and you can picture it, that is an area that's taken up with landscaping in front of that small building that is back there that served various uses over the years, and various retail uses. I don't know, I don't think anybody knows how it came to be that was built entirely within a street right-of-way, but it is. For various reasons, that needs to be cleared up, and the property owners want to clear it up so that they might be able to sell part of that property where that little building is. So they have offered to dedicate to the city, for all practical purposes, the little strip of land which is already being used as the street to connect Beach Street to Beach Street. And that would mean, in return, the city would close and abandon the portion of Beach Street, which is actually already occupied by landscaping and a building. If that makes sense, I think everybody's familiar with the place, and it's depicted on the map. To do that, if the city wishes to proceed, if council wishes to proceed, according to the statutory procedure, you have to call for a public hearing, and by the resolution state your intent to close that portion of the street.
Louis said no one knows how that came to be like that. I want to continue the theme because if Scott Luckadoo was here, he could probably tell us how it came to be. We have this theme.
I think it's because it really didn't block anything, because you could always access the rest of Beach Street by cutting across the back of that parking lot. It is strange, but I have no idea how it came to be. It's been that way this is not recent.
Right.
I mean, this has been decades. But when in Airly, Jenny, in looking at possibly transferring part of the property, of course, the surveyors and the title searchers said, there's a problem here. And frankly, from the city's point of view, obviously what our primary goal would have to be to maintain that street access back to the what is now the farmer's market location.
Questions from council? I'll entertain a motion. Oh, Chris?
I just have one question. So the portion that we're proposing to close is already inaccessible, correct?
Well, physically, although of course it's a street, I mean, if the city wanted to insist, I guess we could send bulldozers out there and demolish it and clear it off and
But as
build a new
is.
street.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, it is, yes.
Yeah. And this predates Scott Lookaday.
Oh, yeah, it's 30 plus years.
What's the
I'll
wish
make
of council?
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution of intent to permanently close and abandon unopened portion of Beach Street, to set a public hearing for Monday, February 1st, 2021 at 6 p.m. in the City Hall Council Chambers to consider this action, and to direct the city clerk to appropriately advertise such hearing and post notice of the same in at least 2 places along Beach Street.
Thanks, Chris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next on our agenda is the consideration of approval of a resolution for a building reuse grant, which it would be toner machining. Sally?
So over the past few years, we have been extremely successful in the city and the county working together with BDI to apply for and receive building reuse grants to expand some existing industry and to also upfit some vacant buildings and turn them into a new use. It's been a great program for us, and we are grateful to Commerce for having that. We have a local industry, Project Parts, toner machining, that is looking to purchase the vacant Food Lion on Fleming Drive and to expand their business. And we have presented this, I believe last week it was presented to the Funders Forum. And although we were asking for $260,000 to help with the upfit cost, and for every grant dollar, the owner, the business is required to put in a matching dollar. We were given notice that we would be receiving $130,000. So we're receiving half of what we asked for. We do believe this project is going to still go forward, would create about 31 new jobs. The city and the county would share in equal portions the administration portion of the grant. It's 5%, which in this case for the 130 would be $6,500.
Question for City Council?
And Alan is here if we have any further questions.
Just for clarification, this would be the old Food Lion building on Fleming Drive, correct?
Correct.
70 Fleming, yeah.
70.
70 in Fleming.
Questions from council? Do I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to approve a resolution to apply for a building reuse grant and to authorize the mayor and/or city manager to execute any other related documents as necessary.
I have a motion. To have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Our last order of business, at least according to the agenda, is a 30-day notice of vacancies. We have a Morganton Housing Authority. There are 3 seats. Brian Black and Teresa DeHart are members with expiring terms, and so there's actually 1 vacant seat. That's the 30-day notice for the Morganton Housing Authority. Anything else to come before the council? I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year, and it's going to be a safe year. At this point, we're adjourned.